so painful, and then you feel like you feel guilty because, you know, like, this is how you need to feed your baby, and it's hard.
Hey, my name is Marisa. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to come on today and talk about some of my postpartum experiences. So we're 2 weeks postpartum, he's 2 weeks old. And I just kind of wanted to make something at this point while everything was like really fresh on my mind. I definitely went through a lot of ups and downs, and I want to share that experience because I watched a lot of videos that had helped me during that time too. So right after we gave birth, they immediately had put him to the boob. He was rooting and doing a lot of like hungry first newborn signs that he was like ready to start nursing. And everything was fine. Like, I was exhausted. The nurse actually like held him onto my boob while I was like basically half awake, asleep, like just like exhausted from the whole thing. And so we had a good like first 6-8 hours or so, I would say, trying to like really like get his latch like really deep. But right away it definitely was painful, so I was kind of unsure about that, but I could distinguish between when he had a deeper latch and was like further on the boob. It hurt, but it wasn't as painful as, for example, if he was just like lower on just like the tip of my nipple, that would be like distinguishably painful. And so I was telling myself, okay, so this is like the right latch and everything should be good. So fast forward, we're home, like it's been like around 48 hours. My nipples are, this is a lot of nipple talk, TMI, like had been bleeding the last 2 days, were scabbed over, like literally a scab, like when you scrape your knee and you like form a scab, that's what was on like the ends of my nipples. I also started to get cracking, which I've always read about and heard about, but I didn't really know what it was. And now that I saw it, it was like, I don't know. But anyways, so that happened like around day 2 and 3. I started to just like feel like so defeated, and I started to feel just like I couldn't, I don't know, I was like disturbed by how my nipples were looking, like and then every time I would like get anxiety over like going to go feed him, and right when he was about to latch, and it was just like a really bad experience in the beginning, and it was making me like a little stressed out. And then I was like worried he wasn't getting enough milk, and then so that went on. My husband, but here's the other issue I was having too, is my husband was like, okay, look, we have, you know, we got your pump in, why don't you just pump and give him a bottle? And this was like around day 3 or 4. And so then I started to stress. I'd be like, logically it'd be like, okay, yeah, that's what we have to do because I'm not coping well with what's going on. I like had a weird fixation over not giving him a bottle because I read and was told from the lactation consultants to wait 2 weeks before you gave him a bottle, or he'll get nipple confusion and then he won't want to breastfeed anymore, and I'd have to like pump and give him a bottle all the time. And so that like really bothered me for some, and this is the point my husband kept making, and I like couldn't wrap my head around it, and I still have trouble with it. But basically it's like, it shouldn't matter how I'm breastfeeding my child, because as long as he is getting the proper nutrients, the best form of nutrients we can give him, it shouldn't matter. And I do completely believe that, and obviously that's the most important thing. And we ended up giving him a bottle at that point to kind of like supplement and give me a break and everything. But I just like felt like my heart was breaking over the fact that like I might never breastfeed like the most natural way again, because it just wasn't working out. And I just felt like I was getting like robbed, or I couldn't let that go. And I was like, I just don't want to give up, you know? And so it was a really tough first week. Like the other thing that I was like struggling with too, as far as that, because like now when I was starting to supplement milk from the bottle, it is, you know, and I looked into exclusively pumping, and kudos to the moms that do that, because that is intense. Like you're not just like feeding your baby, you're having to take away time to feed the baby from the bottle, pump, and then clean all the pumping supplies for your next pumping session. And you do that every 2 to 3 hours. And it was feeling like so much, like I was just getting overwhelmed, and I was like, how am I supposed to be doing this every day, like all day? Like this is my new routine. Like what am I gonna do when I like go to work? But I kept reintroducing the breast, supplementing with bottle when I had to. And fast forward a little bit, giving myself the time to bottle feed in between that was like, now that I'm looking back on it, it's only been 2 weeks, so we're still fresh. This is why it's part 1. I realized like I really did need to give myself a break, because then I started to see myself heal a little bit more. I was feeling physically better, at least up here, with the situation, even though I was like stressing out about the fact that I was still giving him a bottle and we were dealing with some latch issues. So over time, I started to like split it up about half and half, and then a little bit more I would just give him the breast, and kind of wean off the bottle. And I really, really focused on the latch. That is like the most frustrating thing to figure out. I just felt like, why is this not working? He doesn't have a tongue tie. I don't have like a certain type of nipple that would prevent us from being able to breastfeed. I was trying to do everything that I was taught, and I was still like blistered and not doing well. Okay, hold on, husband calling back. It's much later in the day. I've got him in his little wrap, and it almost would have made me feel better if it was like, oh, you have this problem and that's why y'all are struggling breastfeeding. And so I just kept putting myself down. I felt a lot like a failure, which is silly. And a lot of this too was coming from like just postpartum, like emotions and things going on. And so now that I'm like looking back on it, since it's kind of still recent and just only recently resolved, I can see like how like, okay, like a lot of those emotions were coming from like a postpartum, like adjusting and figuring things out schedule. And I maybe was being a little bit too hard on the situation. It's like I couldn't just go with the flow and like it be worked and figured out. It was getting a little bit better, but it still kind of hurt, or it was just, I was just stressing myself out at the end of the day. So we're at 2 weeks now. The last like few days, I can see that I'm actually healing. It only hurts on the initial latch, and then once he's on, it goes away and I don't even really feel anything, and we're just like hanging out and he's eating. So I also have noticed that like my nipple wounds, as horrible as that sounds, have like gotten a lot better. And
hey y'all, okay, so I'm trying to finish the breastfeeding video. Got little baby on the monitor. 3-week update. Finally, I think we got a decent latch. Now, all the way up until now, it has I would get like it would be extremely painful for like 15 to 20 seconds right after he would latch, and then it would go away and it would just feel like, you know, like a tugging or a pulling. That has slowly gone away. Now it's still very sensitive, kind of like, I don't think it's like that excruciating sharp pain like it was before, but it's definitely just a sensation. Oh God, I'm tired. But anyways, actually this week we're doing a lot better. I'm able to like actually start to enjoy breastfeeding, and like it feels good, and I feel like I'm nourishing my baby. I'm not looking into it. It's hard not to look into it negative, because every time you go to do it, it's like a very painful thing. But now that like pain has gone away, it's a little bit more enjoyable. I could be like, oh, he's ready for feeding, let me feed him, sit down, watch like whatever TV show I've been watching while I breastfeed or something like that. And that's been a lot nicer. Honestly, like it has just been like, I'll take pregnancy any day, I'll take giving birth any day. The hardest part of this postpartum has been the breastfeeding journey. Like, it's just so painful, and then you feel like you feel guilty because, you know, like, this is how you need to feed your baby, and it's hard. Plus you have like so much else going on, like you're just like uncomfortable down there, you got other things going on down there, you're exhausted because you're not sleeping, this is more postpartum, but my God, like I just like did not, like I knew postpartum was going to be hard and a transition, but I think I like focused so much on the birth and like making sure that I was going to be able to do a natural birth, and like really like mentally preparing myself for that when postpartum came, I was like, oh, okay, it's over, here's the baby. And it just like doesn't end. So you're like exhaustion from spending 12 hours giving birth, and then going into like having a newborn that you have to take care of nonstop, is plus like healing. It's just like, but I don't know, now that I'm at 3 weeks, I feel so much better. Like I feel way more healed. I can sit more comfortably, I can breastfeed more comfortably. Oops, sorry. And it's just like I can start to see like things feeling into a routine finally. And hey y'all, I wanted to give a 4-week update. Wow, it's going so much better than I even imagined. I actually just latched him on, and okay, he's playing around. I actually just latched him on, and for the first time ever, I felt nothing. It was crazy. So it feels so good to be at this point. It's like so much more enjoyable. It finally feels easy to be like, oh, let me feed him, you know, and pop him on, and that's it. And it's been quite a journey, but I'm glad that we are finally at this point. And I know everyone's journey is different and everyone's situation is different, but just have faith that you're gonna figure out what's going on if you keep at it. And you know, if something is wrong, you will figure it out. If if nothing's wrong, it'll work out, and just like it did with our situation, you know, and you'll get to that point where you can like enjoy breastfeeding your baby and really getting the benefits out of it and stuff. So what else? 4-week updates surrounding breastfeeding. My milk letdown still is coming like pretty strong, I feel like. And then I've also noticed that he feeds more consistently with like a time frame. Like he usually just stops around 20 minutes. He does occasionally do still like the pacifier type move, which I'm not as sensitive to because things are not as painful as they were before. So sometimes I'll let him do it if he's doing it just to help him relax and get comfy. And then sometimes I will like detach him and we'll have our little time. I don't know if this has made a difference, but I've kind of been more on top of his naps during the day because I realized that I wasn't really keeping track of that, and I think I just kept feeding him like every hour and a half because I didn't know why he was so fussy, and it turns out that he wasn't napping enough. I wasn't sure if it was because he was hungry, but then now that I've got him on a better like daytime nap routine, and sometimes he'll sleep like the full like 2.5 hours and end up, so he'll sleep like for like 2.5 hours, and then instead of feeding him every hour and a half, which I was definitely doing at one point, I'm feeding him like every 3 hours, and it's been a lot easier on my body that way and kind of been more natural for him too, because I also think, I don't know if like, I know you can't overfeed a breastfed baby, but I think it was contributing to like the extra gas, like just feeding them extra on top of that was like just giving more opportunity for him to swallow air. I'm not sure. The other thing I've been doing is like I have started giving him pacifiers because we got a little desperate a couple nights when I just didn't know what to do to calm him down. Is anytime I do offer him like a bottle, or if like my husband feeds him with a bottle, or if I give him a pacifier, I will like do the same routine so as I do with when I feed him breastfeeding. So I like tickle his bottom lip, I get him to open up nice and wide, and then I insert the bottle or the pacifier. And so to kind of keep consistent with that routine of opening wide to receive like the nipple or the food, instead of just like getting into like the quick sucky motion, which you can't put a boob into that. So those have been the week 4 changes with him. He's doing really, really good. I'm hoping this new, like, yesterday we had a really good day. We did like kept on track of his naps, and we had a good night, and so I'm hoping that translates to tonight as well. But breastfeeding wise, he is doing awesome, huh?